The morning bell echoed across the old brick high school, its shrill ring bouncing through the crowded halls like a command to take positions for another battle-filled day. The students shuffled into their classrooms, laughing, gossiping, and making their usual noise. But today felt different. A whisper had traveled across the corridors since early dawn, rumors of a new teacher joining the faculty. Some said she was too young to be a teacher. Others claimed she was strict, and a few boys smirked and hoped she would be another easy target for their cruel fun. In this school, bullies ruled like kings, and every new face was a challenge to their power. Room 12, the largest classroom near the assembly hall, buzzed with impatience. Students lounged carelessly on desks, shoes on chairs, and graffiti carved on tables. At the back of the room sat the notorious group, 5 boys who thought they owned the school. Jason, the leader, tall and broad with a cruel grin, cracked his knuckles while whispering with Mark and Tony, his partners in chaos. 2 girls, Rena and Chloe, leaned against the wall giggling, their eyes full of mockery. They had heard the new teacher was young, maybe in her 20s. That only made her easier prey. The door creaked open. A hush fell over the room as footsteps clicked softly against the floor. Into the chaos stepped a woman no older than 24. She was tall, elegant, with sharp yet kind eyes, her hair tied neatly into a bun, and her simple white blouse paired with a black skirt gave her a professional but gentle look. For a moment silence held the class in awe. She carried no heavy books, no thick glasses, no signs of fear. Only a calm confidence radiated from her as she placed her files on the desk. "Good morning, class," she said, her voice firm yet smooth, carrying through the air like a melody that refused to be ignored. "I'm Miss Alina Carter, your new homeroom teacher. Let's start with roll call." The students exchanged glances. Some muttered, some smirked. Jason leaned back, smirking as he whispered, "This one won't last a week." Tony chuckled, "She looks too soft. Bet she'll cry before Friday." The girls snickered, already plotting ways to embarrass her. Alina, however, ignored their stares. She opened the attendance sheet and began calling names. Her voice was steady, her posture perfect. She didn't rush, didn't stumble. Something about her composure irritated the bullies. They were used to teachers looking nervous on their first day, fumbling with names, avoiding confrontation. But this one, she seemed different. As she reached Jason's name, he deliberately raised his hand lazily and drawled, "Present, sweetheart." The class burst into laughter. Elena lifted her eyes, locked them on him, and for the first time, Jason felt a flicker of unease. There was no anger in her gaze, only a sharpness that cut deeper than rage. Calmly, she said, "In this classroom, I am either Miss Carter or Mum, nothing else. Understood?" The firmness of her tone silenced the laughter. Jason scoffed, but inside, his pride stung. No teacher had ever dared to check him so directly. But bullies thrive on escalation, and Jason was not about to let a young teacher humiliate him in front of his friends. As Alina turned back to the list, he leaned toward Mark and whispered, "Watch this." In a quick motion, Jason stood up and walked toward her desk. "Excuse me, Miss Carter," he said with fake politeness. "You dropped something." She looked at him quizzically, just as his hand shot forward, grabbing the collar of her blouse and with one swift pull tearing the fabric at the shoulder seam. Gasps filled the classroom. Some students screamed, others burst out laughing. The girls covered their mouths in shock. For a split second, the room froze. Elena stood there, her white shirt ripped, her dignity under attack. Jason grinned, basking in the chaos he had created, expecting her to cry, scream, or run out like so many teachers before her. But instead, something terrifying happened. She didn't flinch. She didn't tremble. Slowly, Alina set the attendance sheet on the desk and looked up at Jason. Her eyes, once warm, now blazed like steel. The laughter died in the throats of the students as they noticed the change in her aura. She straightened her back, the torn fabric slipping slightly but ignored, as if the humiliation meant nothing. Her voice dropped, calm and cold. "You just crossed a line you will regret." Jason laughed nervously. "Oh yeah, and what are you gonna do, cry to the principal?" He puffed his chest, but his laughter rang hollow. Elena's lips curved into the faintest smile, not of amusement, but of a predator who had just been provoked. "Class dismissed," she said, without raising her tone. "Everyone out." Now, confused murmurs spread across the room. Students shuffled toward the door, sensing something was about to happen. Some hesitated, not wanting to miss the drama. But one look from Alina's piercing eyes sent them hurrying out. Within seconds, only the bullies remained. Jason, Mark, Tony, Rena, and Chloe. Jason smirked, pretending to be brave, but his fingers twitched nervously. "What are you gonna do, huh? Hit us? You'll lose your job," Tony mocked. Chloe laughed, though her voice shook slightly. Elena stepped away from the desk, her heels clicking softly against the floor. Then, to their utter shock, she removed her glasses, placed them calmly on the desk, and rolled up the sleeves of her torn blouse. "You think because I'm a teacher, I'm weak. You think because I wear a blouse and skirt I can't fight back. Let me educate you on a lesson no book will teach. Respect is earned, and bullies always fall." Jason scoffed, but his body tensed. "You can't touch us. We'll tell the principal you attacked us." Elena's eyes narrowed. "Do you think anyone will believe the troublemakers who've been terrorizing this school for years? Or the teacher who has already documented your every move since the moment I stepped into this classroom?" Her words sent a shiver through the group. They hadn't realized she had been observing them all along. But Jason, too arrogant to back down, lunged forward. "You're bluffing!" he shouted, grabbing her arm. In a split second, the classroom turned into a battlefield. Elena's hand moved faster than his eyes could follow. She twisted his wrist, pivoted her body, and slammed him face first onto a desk with a single judo move. The sound of his body crashing echoed like thunder. Mark rushed forward, swinging wildly, but Elena sidestepped gracefully, hooking his leg and sending him crashing onto the floor. Tony froze, realizing too late that this wasn't the fragile woman he thought. She was trained, deadly trained. Rhina screamed, "Stop, you'll kill him!" Elena's eyes flicked toward her, calm but unyielding. "No, I'm showing you that every action has consequences." Jason groaned, clutching his twisted arm, his arrogance shattered. Elena released him, standing tall, her presence radiating power. "Get up," she ordered. Her voice was sharp, commanding, the kind that left no room for defiance. Jason staggered to his feet, his pride in pieces. You're crazy," he muttered. But his eyes betrayed the truth, fear. For the first time in his life, he was not in control. For the first time, someone stronger had stood up to him, and it was the last person he expected. Elena walked toward the door, her torn shirt fluttering slightly. She turned back one last time, her voice steady. "Tomorrow you will stand before the entire class and apologize. Not because I need it, but because every student deserves to see that bullies can be broken. If you don't, I'll break more than your pride." The bullies stood frozen, their bravado gone, replaced with trembling silence. For the first time, Jason lowered his head, his voice barely audible. "Why, yes, Miss Carter." As Elena stepped out into the hallway, the students who had been eavesdropping scattered, pretending they hadn't seen. But their wide eyes and hushed whispers told the truth. The story would spread like wildfire. By lunchtime, the whole school would know the new teacher wasn't just another victim. She was a storm in disguise. And the bullies who tore her shirt at roll call were now the ones left begging for forgiveness.